Hey everybody, Dr. Ben here, Functional Medicine Centers. Welcome. So excited to have you on the video today. I love getting into research. I love getting into what is actually going on out there and what are challenges that we're truly facing in the day in and day out. So today I'm going to go over the challenges with the vaccine that is coming out and where the hiccups might be taking place, and if you are planning on getting the vaccine, what you need to be looking for. If you're not, it may just be interesting information to you as well. But this is definitely something that a lot of people are just taking for granted. If they are looking for a vaccine, they're just assuming that it's going to be there and it's going to be readily available in the next couple months. We've heard a lot lately about some of the different ones. Pfizer, Moderna, some of the different vaccines. We'll be talking about those. Hey Clinton, good to see you. All right guys, welcome Functional Medicine Centers. If you have not already, like or follow our page, and if you find this information interesting, useful, anything, just like all of our other videos, share it with as many people as you can, because people need to know what to do. They need to know how to get their bodies strong, all those things. Good to see you, Julie, in Wichita. So here we go. Here's the process of how the vaccine works and how it gets out to the masses. So it's not just as simple as, hey, let's produce a vaccine and then send it out to CVS and everybody gets injected. There's a lot of steps along the way. So right now, the two biggest companies that we're looking at here in the United States that are talking about being able to have the production of the vaccine at the level to be able to administer it to some people, even this year, are Pfizer and Moderna. Pfizer's been around a long time. Unfortunately, they've got a checkered background. I did a video on this before where they have been sued. They had major fines put against them for misleading the public on marketing and some different things. Moderna is a startup company. They've never produced or mass produced a vaccine into the masses, so they're basically a startup company. So there's concerns on a lot of the levels just of who the companies are in general. So then we look at what the FDA needs to do. The FDA needs to approve it for an EUA, emergency use approval. And this is where it's not officially FDA approved, but it's going to be approved enough that they can start using it. Hey Tanda, good to see you up there in South Dakota. So here's what we're looking at yep, Clinton, we'll get to that in a second. It's actually -90. So first off, you've got to go through the process to get the FDA EUA approval. And what this means is that they've got to show some form of effectiveness, some form of safety for that vaccine. And unfortunately, most vaccines take about 3 to 5 years to get that form of effectiveness and safety shown, and then they can bring it to the forefront. But what's happened now is that because of what's going on and how they're trying to rush it, there's political pressure, all types of different things. The FDA is going to push this forward, this EUA, even before some of these may be proven as safe as they need to be. So that's one of the big concerns, is it should take at least 3 to 5 years to really show that. But what's happening now is that we're rushing it through, and we're, the FDA is basically gambling and taking a guess on whether it's going to be as effective as they want it to be and as safe as they want it to be. The other concern and the challenge that they're having is this is a totally new technology. So both Pfizer and Moderna are both what are called a messenger RNA vaccine. And messenger RNA vaccine is, again, a totally new technology that has not been used in the masses on human beings for vaccinations. All right, so again, good to see everybody out there that's jumping on board. Dr. Ben Galliard here, Functional Medicine Centers. If you find this information useful, or if you know people that are thinking about vaccines or worried about it or how they're going to get it, or not wanting to do it, whichever end of the spectrum, go ahead and share this with as many people as you can. Most people are confused. They don't know what's actually going on out there. That's what I'm trying to clear up here. So So again, the first is getting that EUA approval, getting the FDA to see that it's safe and effective, seeing if that messenger RNA vaccine can actually be productive there, and then we start getting into the logistics. Both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines are 2 shots, so you do one on day 1 and one on day 21. So that's another challenge. Why? Well, because first of all, however many doses they say, you've got to divide it by 2. So if you've got 1 million doses, you only get 500,000 people that actually can get injected. And then I would say that you would even take that down another 10 or 15%, because just getting people to renew their driver's license or to do much of anything is a challenge, let alone to get people to come in twice at the recommended time. I think we're going to lose probably 10 or 15% of the people just by doing that. Let me know if you guys have ever give me a thumbs up if you've ever forgotten or pushed back licensing your car or driver's license or whatever it is. We're human. We're busy. We push things out. And so there's going to be a lot of people that are pushing it back and maybe go out 30 days or 40 days. And is that even going to be effective? We don't know at this point. There's some thumbs up out there, some of you procrastinators. So logistics. Who's going to be able to produce enough of these for millions, if not billions of people? Again, you've got to divide it in half. There's no one company that is going to be able to do this. So you're going to have multiple companies and multiple technologies and multiple ways to do this. So one of the concerns there also is that when you're getting into the logistics of monitoring who's actually receiving the injection and everything, if that one CVS pharmacy is dealing with this Pfizer and you had a Moderna injection over here, you can't get your second injection from Pfizer. So there's got to be a lot of coordination, and they don't even have this yet. They don't have the tracking system, the software in place to be able to monitor and manage who's getting the injection, how many have they had done, even tracking, and this is one of my biggest concerns, is who's tracking the symptoms, who's tracking who dies from the vaccine, all these different things. There really isn't a software, a general database, anything like that at this point. So when people start talking about, oh hey, I'm out of town for day 21, or I did one over at that one, but the line's too long, can I go over to this one? How are they going to coordinate those things? Going to be very challenging. So that logistics is going to be a huge part of it. Distribution. CVS is one of the main pharmacies that's got a contract with the government. And what we're looking at with this is, CVS, even at this point, they said, yeah, we're ready to roll, but they have no decisive process planned out as far as this is how we're going to monitor, this is how we're going to get people in through the door, track them, be able to keep everybody safe. Is there going to be like riots, people trying to rush in and get this? Are there going to be protesters outside? There's all these logistics, and then who are they hiring and who's paying for those people to actually administer the vaccine and keep track of it and everything along those lines. We had a statement before, a question about -80 degrees. It's actually -90 degrees that the Pfizer vaccine has to be kept at. Anybody ever been in -90 degree temperature? No, because it doesn't exist unless it's artificially created. And so think about it. If you, 6 months ago, if you could have started a dry ice company, that would have been the best investment you could have ever done, because these, especially the Pfizer vaccine, is going to need to be transported with dry ice. We've done stem cell injections before, and to get that, they ship it on dry ice. It's a big process. You have to sign for it, keep it in this tank, and all these different things. It's a major process to keep things that cold and to have enough dry ice and to keep this process rolling. The Moderna one can be left in the freezer, so that's a little bit easier. But the Pfizer one, think about the trucks, the airplanes, transportation. When it gets to the doctor's office or the pharmacy or wherever it is, do you actually have a plug-in freezer that keeps it that cold, or do you have to have a tank like we did for our stem cells where we keep them in there? It's a huge process and a lot of logistics. So here's what the next step is then. How much material do you actually have to be able to mass inject people, mass inoculate people out there? The traditional bottles, they take 10 vaccine. It's 10 injections per bottle. It's got a reusable lid on there that you can pull that material out of. But think about the number of needles and syringes and swabs and Band-Aids, all these different things that are going to be needed to do that, along with the people that are administering it. We've already had an issue with PPE and face masks and masks and gloves and gowns and all these things. Now we're going to add another 10 million people or whatever it's going to be onto there. So that administering of the vaccine is definitely going to be a challenge. They've been talking about the military being part of the distribution with that. But again, do they have the phones? Do they have the trucks? Do they have the planes? All these different things in place to be able to get those out to the masses. Then you think about somebody living in a rural area, somebody living in an urban area, underprivileged urban area where there are no pharmacies, where there are no clinics, and those people. Then you get into security, and there's a big concern about security of the vaccines, and will people be stealing these? Not only stealing them, but will people be kind of rioting, and they're so worried about getting one that they want to be first in line, or there'll be protesters saying don't get the vaccine, and then people go after them and say, get out of here, you're messing up with our vaccine. So security is a huge part of it that they haven't thought about. Then we get into how to get. It's not a federal government thing. Each local government is going to have to be in charge of this process. And are they going to be communicating with other ones? Will they know who's been injected, who hasn't? Will some people try to get it multiple times? And then one of the last things that we look at is we've got different priority levels. So if you've seen this, there's different priority levels of, okay, first it's going to be people in assisted living homes and frontline workers. Well, what does that look like? Well, when you've got frontline workers, so in New Jersey, just take New Jersey for example, there's 500,000 people that are classified as that first priority people to be able to get an injection in New Jersey. Right now, they're going to have, for the first wave, they're going to have 43,000 people available to get injected. So not even 10% of the people are going to be able to get that vaccine and that injection. How do you divvy that up? Is there a priority of the priority level? Are there going to be fights? Are there going to be people that really you think should get it, but these other people get it instead? So it's definitely a challenge to get that through there, but this is a huge part of the process. For me, one of the biggest concerns is going to be who's tracking for reactions, who's tracking for deaths, for major infections, for anything along those lines. And my guess is they're going to have a hard enough time just getting it out there and tracking who's had it, let alone who has actually had a reaction or had an issue with it. There's a lot of concerns. Over the years, there have been many people that have had reactions to vaccines, and unfortunately, with the people that they're giving this to first, they're going to go into that assisted living home, and they're going to be some of the first ones to get this vaccine, and they're already at that level of their bodies are kind of depleted, their immune systems aren't working as well as they should, and that's why there was actually there was a vote recently with the FDA as far as whether to get it out into assisted living homes first, and there was one vote that said no, and people were like, well, what do? You don't like old people, whatever it is. And the thought was actually that for older population, and even Bill Gates back in April said this, I posted that quote a long time ago, that you can't expect the vaccine to be that effective for older people. The flu vaccine isn't very effective for older people. Their immune systems are not able to create enough of a response to actually create that immunity. So do we actually kind of waste it on the older people? He said the whole point of vaccines is to get younger people vaccinated because their immune systems can actually produce enough immunity, enough immune response that then the virus kind of dies out and older people won't get it. But to give it to a bunch of older people, is it almost wasting a vaccine? So that was why that lady said no, she didn't want to give it out to them as well. My question on a lot of the frontline workers, and I don't work with COVID patients on a daily basis, but with frontline workers, a lot of them, if they've already been doing this for a while, they've been exposed, and they've been exposed a lot. And so if they haven't had it already, there's a good chance that there's some of those that are already having the T cell activity from other coronaviruses. Like we've talked about, 40 to 60% of the population has T cell activity to other coronaviruses that they're not going to get COVID. So a lot of those people are like that anyways. Maybe you're like this, but I guarantee you I get exposed every single year to the flu. When was the last time I had the flu? It's been a long, long time. So multiple things. One, my immune system recognizes a lot of those viruses and attacks them even without getting revved up. Number two, I work out every day. I get 8 hours of sleep. I keep my blood sugar stabilized. I take the supplements like I need. I know what my vitamin D level is. A lot of these things that you need to be doing. If you're not, you still have time, because here's the deal. The odds, if you have even been thinking about getting a vaccine, the odds of you getting it in the next 6 months are very slim, and maybe even the next year. So you've got time, and you've got a need. If your weight is not where it should be, if you have the comorbidities of blood sugar imbalances, insulin resistance, if you've got high blood pressure, if you've got lung issues, if you're smoking, if you're drinking, if your blood sugar is spiking up and crashing down, you still have time, and you can make this change. We can reverse diabetes in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. You can be non-diabetic already. So if you know somebody that's diabetic, get them into our office. We can help them ASAP. We can reverse these things. It can happen very, very quickly. This is not just, wait for it, but you can make these changes right away. And again, because of all of these logistics issues that we talked about, very good chance that the vast majority of people that are interested in getting a vaccine, I know a lot of you have posted already today that you're not, but for the people that are, it's going to take them months, if not over a year, to ultimately get in that line. So what do you got to do? Well, you've got to do those things that we talk about. Check out our other videos. Facebook, you can look through. We put all of them on YouTube, so you can search a lot easier that way. Ask us questions down below. And again, if you find this information useful, if this was helpful for you to see all of the problems going forward with people assuming that they're going to be safe when this vaccine comes out, share this with as many people as you can, because people need to know that they need to do everything possible to get their health where it needs to be to handle any stressor, let alone a virus, the next bacteria, the next time you get bit by a tick or a mosquito or whatever it is. You've got to be as strong as possible so that you can handle anything that gets thrown at you. So hope this helps. Keep educating yourself. If you've got any questions at all, go ahead and drop those down below. We work with patients all over the country. We've got our office in Phoenix, as well as Fort Collins and now Cheyenne, Wyoming. So give us a call if you've got any questions. We love helping people, love getting the information out, and share this with as many people as you can, because people need to know that this is not the be-all and end-all. It's not going to be the wonder fix that's just going to get rid of everything and get us where we need to be. So stay strong. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.